A shared crisis: China and America's fentanyl problem. This issue has grown into a significant public health emergency, affecting countless lives on both sides of the Pacific. The United States is facing a deadly opioid epidemic. Overdose deaths have skyrocketed, leaving families devastated and communities in turmoil. At its heart is fentanyl, a powerful synthetic opioid. This drug is up to 100 times more potent than morphine, making it incredibly dangerous and often lethal. But this isn't just an American problem. The ripple effects of fentanyl abuse are felt worldwide, highlighting the global nature of the drug crisis. China, often unknowingly, plays a key role. Many of the chemicals used to manufacture fentanyl are produced in Chinese factories and shipped globally. This complex situation strains relations between the two superpowers. Diplomatic tensions rise as each country grapples with the crisis in its own way. The United States points fingers at China's involvement in the crisis. Accusations fly, with American officials demanding stricter controls on chemical exports. China, in turn, insists it's doing its part. Chinese authorities claim they are cracking down on illegal production and export of fentanyl precursors. To understand this tangled web, we need to look closer. Investigative efforts reveal a complex network of suppliers, manufacturers, and traffickers. We need to understand how China, despite strict drug laws, became entangled in America's fentanyl fight. This isn't about blame, it's about understanding the multifaceted nature of the problem. It's about recognizing the unintended consequences of global trade and a relentless demand for dangerous drugs. The global market for synthetic opioids has created a perilous situation. Only then can we find solutions that work for both countries. Collaborative efforts, international cooperation, and community-based prevention programs are essential to combat this crisis effectively. The many faces of fentanyl, a chemical chameleon. Fentanyl isn't just one drug, it's a family of synthetic opioids. Each member has a slightly different chemical makeup, but they all pack a dangerous punch. They are cheap to produce and incredibly potent. This makes them attractive to both pharmaceutical companies and illegal drug manufacturers. The problem is, making fentanyl isn't like baking a cake. There's no one recipe. Chemists are constantly tweaking the formula, creating new variations faster than law enforcement can track them. This makes stopping fentanyl production incredibly difficult. It's like playing whack-a-mole with a hydra. China's drug control strict rules, but loopholes remain. China takes a hard line on narcotics. They have strict regulations on producing and selling fentanyl and its precursors. Only a handful of licensed companies can handle these substances. Their every move is closely monitored. So, how is fentanyl still getting out? The truth is, most fentanyl hitting American streets isn't coming directly from China. It's being made in secret labs, primarily in Mexico. These labs rely on a global network of suppliers for the chemicals they need. And that's where China, despite its best efforts, comes in. The chemical boom: how China's growth fueled a crisis. China is a chemical powerhouse. It's the world's largest producer and exporter of chemicals, many of which are used in legitimate industries. This boom was fueled by government incentives and a desire to compete globally. But this rapid growth came with unintended consequences. The sheer volume of chemicals being produced and shipped out of China made it difficult to track everything. Regulatory agencies, while well-intentioned, were overwhelmed. This created opportunities for unscrupulous actors to exploit the system. Section 5. Small fish, big pond. The trouble with tiny chemical factories. In the vast and complex world of chemical production, not all players are created equal. China's chemical industry isn't just giant factories. While the massive industrial plants often grab headlines, there's another side to the story. It's also hundreds of thousands of small-scale producers. These smaller entities play a crucial role in the supply chain, often filling niches that larger companies overlook. These companies, often family-run, operate on thin margins and face intense competition. The pressure to stay afloat in such a competitive market can be overwhelming. They are under pressure to deliver, sometimes cutting corners to survive. This can lead to compromised safety standards and questionable practices. While China regulates the big players, keeping track of these smaller producers is a monumental task. The sheer number of these small factories makes comprehensive oversight nearly impossible. Many operate in a legal gray area. This ambiguity allows them to continue production without stringent checks. They might not be making fentanyl itself, but they are producing the chemicals needed to make it. These precursor chemicals are essential in the synthesis of various drugs, and with lax oversight, it's easy for these chemicals to end up in the wrong hands. The lack of regulation and monitoring creates a perfect storm for illegal activities to thrive. The challenge lies in balancing the need for these small producers with the necessity of stringent regulation. Ensuring safety and compliance without stifling their operations is a delicate act. As the global demand for chemicals continues to rise, the role of these tiny chemical factories becomes even more significant. Addressing the issues they face is crucial for the industry's future. Section 6. Following the money China's unintentional role in laundering. The fentanyl trade is a lucrative business. Drug cartels need ways to clean their dirty money, and that's where China, again unknowingly, plays a role. Chinese money laundering networks have become a critical link in the fentanyl supply chain. These networks exploit China's complex financial system and a culture of informal lending. They use shell companies, online transactions, and cryptocurrency to move vast sums of money quickly and discreetly. This makes them attractive to drug traffickers looking to launder their profits. Section 7. Hiding in plain sight. The tricks of Chinese money launderers. Chinese money launderers are masters of disguise. They use sophisticated schemes to make dirty money look clean. They layer transactions, moving money through multiple accounts and businesses to obscure its origin. They use trade-based laundering, over-invoicing or under-invoicing goods to move money across borders. They exploit China's booming e-commerce market, using online platforms to move money under the guise of legitimate transactions. They even leverage social media, using private groups and messaging apps to coordinate their activities. This makes them incredibly difficult to track, let alone shut down. Section 8. A problem of perception. Why China doesn't see eye to eye. The U.S. sees fentanyl as a national crisis. They want China to take immediate, drastic action. China, however, sees it differently. They argue that they are already doing their part by controlling fentanyl production within their borders. They view the fentanyl crisis as primarily an American problem driven by demand. They point to the U.S.'s own struggles with prescription opioid abuse. They are also wary of being seen as bowing to American pressure. This difference in perception creates a significant roadblock to cooperation. Section 9. Bridging the gap. Finding common ground to fight fentanyl. Solving the fentanyl crisis requires a united front. Both the U.S. and China need to acknowledge their roles and work together. This means open communication, shared intelligence, and a willingness to compromise. The U.S. needs to recognize that China won't simply do their bidding. They need to engage in good faith diplomacy, offering incentives for cooperation. China, in turn, needs to take the fentanyl crisis seriously, even if they believe it originates elsewhere. They need to crack down on precursor chemical production and money laundering networks. Section 10. A shared responsibility. The future of U.S. China cooperation. As we look towards the future, the relationship between the United States and China will play a pivotal role in addressing global challenges. The fentanyl crisis is a complex problem with no easy solutions. It has devastated communities, torn apart families, and claimed countless lives across both nations. But one thing is clear: neither the U.S. nor China can solve it alone. The scale of the problem demands a united front, where both countries bring their strengths to the table. It requires a concerted, collaborative effort. This means not just high-level diplomatic talks, but also grassroots initiatives and community-level partnerships. Both countries have a shared interest in stemming the flow of this deadly drug. The stakes are too high for either nation to ignore the potential of working together. By working together, sharing information, and coordinating their efforts, they can make a real difference. This collaboration can lead to more effective law enforcement strategies and better prevention measures. They can save lives and dismantle the criminal networks that profit from this deadly trade. Beyond law enforcement, healthcare professionals and community outreach programs play a crucial role in this fight. The path forward is clear. Cooperation, not confrontation, is the only way to win this fight. Together, the U.S. and China can set an example for the world, showing that through unity and shared responsibility, even the most daunting challenges can be overcome.
So hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell for notifications, and let's turn the page on a new adventure together. Get ready to experience books like never before, only on VBook 360. Like, comment, and share to support the channel and keep the video magic alive. Thank you for stopping by. And remember, every video has a story, and every story deserves to be shared. See you in the next video.